It's live below the poverty line. Now your first question might be the most important, but I assure you it is the most and least important. Why is this man here on YouTube right now below the poverty line? Because there ain't nothing to do but this. As you can see, I have a new location where we'll be filming from now on. Tonight's episode, I wanted to go with something that we were talking about last time, and I did a mockumentary to make you think a certain way. And unfortunately, most of that mocking that I did to try to sell you the story is actually happening. So I'm going to tell you where I can draw up these conclusions. I figured this stuff out by the second debate between Hillary and Trump, because I had to know for sure. The first one, you can't really tell where the agenda's at, kind of, sort of. And then in the second one, you can tell for sure. And the third one is definitely the telltale. And I'll tell you that when you see it. So I was basically telling you there's a nice big conspiracy that Hillary is actually being pushed by a system to get her into office because of favors that have been done, because she's been there for so long in politics. She owes people and they owe her. And in order to get this done, it's a most difficult feat. So let me try to show you the birth of it. I've helped you guys out. I need to get to be into the president's spot. I can't wait anymore, and all that. And they sit back and say, okay, you know, you've done a bunch of stuff in politics that are going to be very hard to wipe out or wash out. Also, you know, it's a really hard sell. You couldn't even beat Barack Obama the last time, and if you go to toe-to-toe with another Republican good politician, you're probably not going to make it. So in order to do that, we have to do something huge, and that revolves around a lot of people to make this happen. So don't, it requires a lot of people. And so there's your thing. How do we get this into office? Well, we can't use a regular standard politician. We got this guy, Mr. Trump. Speaks thoroughly against anti-government, has a wild side, easy to dig up dirt, has no political background whatsoever, never held an office in his life, except for the business office. This is what we're going to put you up against, and we'll help you along the way if things get out of control. And for us, behind the scenes, it's a good experimental control to see if you take an average, well, he's not really an average person, but if you take a person that sits there and speaks their mind that wildly in a public forum as a politician, are people grabbing on to the concept? And is it something we should be worried about in the future if somebody does come up like that they don't know and they can't control? So it's a good controller too. So now you're seeing the benefits of why they're going to help out with this ordeal. The missing piece that you haven't thought about is, okay, Trump's got to do this. This is a lot of work. Even if you're going to play the fall guy, it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy, and you got to run it like it's a political race, right? It takes work. So, and if you lose, then you're humiliated and blah blah blah. Which this man, I'm sure, doesn't really give a shit, as long as the master plan is in place. And what you have to think about is the old saying, a juicy government contract. Because when you do contracting for the government, it's always of the highest dollar possible for the amount of work that the average individual would have to pay half that cost. But the government rolls it out and gives you more money for a project than it's really worth. And that's why it's called a juicy government contract. Well, thank you for all your hard work and doing all this to make sure and assert that she winds up in power and becomes the president for whatever reasons. Who knows? Part of pride, this, that. I don't believe she's going to kill the world or anything else. I mean, between the two of them, it doesn't really make a difference because the people behind the curtains that are actually orchestrating this are a little far more powerful than she could ever do. Because if they can pull that off for her, just think what they can do to anybody. Alright, so now you have that in place. Juicy government contracts. So they're like, okay, you go ahead, do this stuff. It's going to be a long road. We're going to tell you in advance, if you're getting too far ahead in the polls, I need you to start spouting off some stuff. We've already got these back tapes of you doing this and that, and we'll plug those into the media and see if we can get your numbers back lower so that she doesn't lose. Because apparently you're gaining. And he's like, and then he starts doing that. What does he have to gain from it? After the end of it all, he's done with it, right? Hey, I ran for president. You can boast about all that stuff. Showed him how he did it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And then he starts getting and building, because he's a building contractor, basically, and starts building stuff for the government and gets the higher wage, makes him even more money. And isn't that really what it's really about anyways? More money. So there's his benefit for doing this. Now you can see the understanding. Now, he goes regular political here and there, polls change, he starts spouting off, they descend. It's a clever game. You know what I mean? So, in a second debate, when you saw two candidates walk out for the first time and not shake hands, which has never happened in the history of the American presidency, or candidates for it through the entire history of it. Even people that hated each other's guts did it that way in a forum anyways. That's just the way it was. So, Hillary isn't good at her speaking. She damage controls. She hurts herself a lot of the time, so that's why the numbers will slip, and then that's where Trump has to act like the asshole again. So, he gets in there and debate too, and that's why I watched it very intensely. And he's just swinging up and down the ropes with her, with everything, man. I mean, he was beautiful. If that was like a boxing match, he won that, and everybody knows that. And if you're deciding that based upon her posture and how she handled stuff in a nice kind of way and only took a couple of jabs at him, he was literally like verbally assaulting her, even telling her that if he got in office, he'd put her in jail and stuff. I mean, this was like, boom. It was intentional. It was to lower the numbers, and what did you see the next day? It was enough to lower the numbers on his side to keep it going, but still make it look like it's a presidential race, because he has to go all the way to the finish line, or else it really isn't that good. Because if you quit before the top, and there's only one candidate really to vote for, or the other two, which I don't even know their names, she wins by default, which then everybody can argue and cause chaos for a long, whatever, how long she stays in office, 4 to 8 years maybe. I mean, the backwash from it will be just so intense that she won't be able to get anything done. So he has to complete the entire event. He has to go all the way to the end and go, oh, I lost, ooh, too bad. And he doesn't worry about it because he's set up. He's set up for life. Probably won't ever have to pay taxes again. Who knows? Who knows what the agreement is, but it takes a lot of different people that had to pull this off. So far, it's beautiful. It's hard to really see, and it may sound a little, but really go back and take a look at the first debate, take a look at the second one, take a look at some of the ads, look at the split editing. If you look around, most of the comedy political shows are always like for Hillary and, oh, Trump's the devil. There's more of that negative campaigning pre-set out on top of hers. And this man is absolutely not spending a dime on advertisements. Why would he? You know what I mean? And since he's part of the thing to get her elected anyways, it doesn't make a difference. But they're using every power. That's pretty sad when you have to use all power medium and all this to push the one guy down that's just randomly going along his way and catching up That's what scares him the most. Because if he does, would put a whole different spin in the world of politics forever. You have to think about that. It will change the dimensions of things if that happens. That means they botched up their operation, and it proved that you could take somebody and actually sit up there and start telling people what's wrong with America, which is wrong with America. That's the sad part. He is speaking the truth. The stuff he's saying is true. But most presidential candidates would never have put it in that type of format, would have never told it that way, ever. Or else, if you went 20 years ago and put him in that place, wouldn't even have gotten off the ground if that was a true factor. So it's something they need to worry about. So that's where the whole conspiracy is. It's a helping hand for this, and it's also a training ground to see if a person with no political background, with enough money, could push himself to the top presidency spot just on his words alone, and seeing where everybody's at now in America, where their mindset is. Are they tired of the political bullshit? It's starting to look that way. So it's a push for her. It's a system control to see if they can see where everything's at. It's really elaborate, but it's pretty much the truth. So just take a look at the clips, look at everything that's going on, see the control factor that they're trying to push everything on him. He's a bad guy. He's a tape from 11. It's all done on purpose. This stuff would have never leaked out normally. It would have happened a lot earlier in the campaign trail. They just set bombs near the end. They're like, we've been holding on to this the whole time, and we're almost near the finish line. Boom, because you got to draw the number back. He knew about the tape before it even released. Everybody knew about it within those ranks that are controlling the situation. They know that. Because, if you want to damage somebody right away, most of this information before getting off the ground when you start anyways, if you really wanted to bury your opponent, that would be the way to do it. But they thought she could actually win it on merit and never believed that a guy with no political background could actually jolt up numbers like that just talking like he does. Which is making fun and pointing at all the government flaws, which they are true, making fun of just certain things and just telling it how it is, which most people seem to appreciate, and so his numbers kept going up. And these bombs are designed to drop and blow before the finish line, which is coming up very soon. So by the third debate, the only thing you're going to see is absolute pandemonium. You're going to see it. He's just going to blast out stuff like, wow. And he's going to go full force to look bad. That's the whole idea. And how she reacts to it, who knows how that will work. As you know, all the questions and everything people read off the cards are already preset ahead of time. These people have already rehearsed their roles. Especially her. Get right off the gut. Nobody does it off the cuff. You know what I mean? Everything that's said in front of the monitor is all preset. Each candidate knows exactly what the question's going to be. It's sort of like the follow-up questions at best, and those are just to slide it off course a little bit, and that's not anything. And any of the people in the background, if you look at them, they're all ordinary-looking citizens stuff. It's all planting of how the visual background goes, too, in order to influence your decision. As you slowly go, you'll see how it's going to revolve in the end. So watch the third one. Watch him go, wow. He's going to be saying stuff most common people, like down here below the poverty line, love hearing somebody say to somebody else. Especially with a suit and tie. It's going to be great. And she's going to falter and go in the same direction and talk about this and that. And here was another little clue in the second debate, in case you didn't catch it, that Donald Trump invited Bill Clinton's accusers to the debate. Okay? No presidential candidate does that. Okay? That was what that. If that hint didn't tell you that there's something bigger going on here to lower numbers, then I don't know what is. But thanks for watching. Sorry it's been a while. I'm going to keep you posted on the different things. We're going to talk about a couple other different subjects to keep your mind set into what we were talking about if you watch the other videos. It's going to be more of trying to free your thinking a little bit more, and we'll explain that next time. So, live below the poverty line, this is Pirate Morgan. Good night.